Hey guys, welcome back to episode 8 of the So Wavy podcast. I am your host, Denny, and y'all know every episode before we get started, I gotta tell y'all where y'all can find me and all that good stuff. So, if you are an audio listener, make sure you are subscribed or following the podcast so you can know every time episodes drop. Also, if you want to see the visual for this podcast, you can head over to my YouTube channel called Denny Price TV, where you can also find other content in the music commentary movie that arena. I still don't have an Instagram or anything, so that is coming soon. And yeah, that's all I got for my little intro today. So y'all, I cannot believe we're on episode 8. We're almost at 10. And I'm so excited that I get to do this every week. I just love talking about music. So this is just great for me. So today's episode is going to be just full of just music conversation and music stuff. I just wanted to dedicate like one episode to music because I wanted to talk about a couple of topics in music and talk about some new music. I didn't really want to get into any like music tea or drama, I guess, this week. So we're sticking to strictly music and my thoughts and all that good stuff. So first we're gonna talk about new music that has recently dropped. So let's see. So first I am going to start with Sweetie, y'all. So if y'all don't know, if y'all are new to listening, we talked about Sweetie a couple times on the show already because she is releasing new music now, and she released a couple weeks ago her Immoral freestyle, and I told y'all that I really liked it, and I told y'all that despite what people think or say, I like Sweetie. Um, do I think she's like the most lyrical, witty, just super, just lyrical rapper, female rapper, and stuff? No, she's not, but I like her vibe and she's fun. And I told y'all her EP, her first EP, what's it called? Was it is it Icy Girl? I think it's Icy Girl. Her first EP I really liked. Like, and I told y'all some of her other stuff that she's released between then and now, I've kind of been like, okay. Um oh, High Maintenance, that's what it's called. High Maintenance. And this is her EP. And yeah, I just like Sweetie personally. So um she released a new song called Rich Tivities, and people are loving it. I think when Sweetie was like making music and it wasn't really hitting or going nowhere, she stopped, and she just was doing other stuff, and then she did release some music like some months back, but that really didn't pop either. So she went back in and she came back out, and I think her music is doing better overall. I like this new era that she's in right now personally. And I really like Rich Tivities, and it's been on repeat for me. I like that, Sweetie. Like, y'all gotta go back and listen to Sweetie's old stuff when she was like first, like, just coming up in music. I'm telling you, that stuff is better than some of the stuff that she's released in between there. But I really like the song, and I seen the visualizer, and I really like it too. Like, I just like this whole era that she's in right now. Um, and I personally give the song like a 9 out of 10. Like, I really just like it. Like I said, when I'm listening to Sweetie's music, I'm not listening for like the most lyrical content, the most meaningful words or whatever. It's just a good time and a vibe. And I also think because I'm like, I told y'all, I'm like a really chill type of person. Like my whole entire personality is chill. I kind of just like go with the flow type person. Like, I'm kind of just in my own world, do my own thing type of person. Like, I'm just super relaxed and chill. And that is kind of how Sweetie is. And that's like how Ice Spice is. Cause I know people are saying like their music is mid. And I would agree on some aspect. Like, some of their music just doesn't hit for me. I'm just like, okay, then why would you make this? But I like some of their music, and I just like them as artists. And I think that's also another thing, which we're going to get into people not supporting their faves like they say they are and all that stuff in later in this episode. But I really like Sweetie, and I like her music, and I just like her vibe personally. So because I like her vibe, I think that's probably why some of her music is like, okay, I like this. It's like a little, it's a little, I like you. So I really like this song, and I'm excited to see kind of what she does after. I think she said she was releasing an album this year, so we will begin a Sweetie album hopefully this year. So we'll see where she takes like this, this new era. Y'all know she's like the icy girl. She's like the, she just got like that pretty girl aesthetic type thing, but she does like different little eras or whatever. So yes, and I really really liked her Icy Girl vlog series that she was doing. And I just think that stuff like that really just helps people get to know artists more. And I think that helps people, artists overall, which we'll talk about that, like I said, in a little bit. But yeah, so she released that. And I'm giving it a 9 out of 10, y'all. I do like this better than the freestyle, but the freestyle, I like that as well. But I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Okay, let's see what Sweetie gonna do. One thing y'all can't say about Sweetie, like she keep trying, like she keep going, like, and I think in her immoral, am I saying it right, immoral or immortal, y'all know what I'm talking about, her freestyle, she was like, y'all telling me go model, because everybody's like thing on social media is telling Sweetie to go model and to just stop rapping, yada yada yada, which I mean, you can't tell somebody to stop doing something. So if you don't like her, that is totally fine. That's not your type of music. So, and she was also in like I know this is, I said I was gonna do no tea or news, but it's talking about the same thing. But she basically responded to a comment and was like, because somebody was like, Sweetie's vid or something. And then she was responding to a comment and was like, y'all listen to a lot of mid music and support a lot of mid music. So I was like, ooh. So, like I said, we'll see kind of where her new music goes. I wonder if she's going to put out a video for Rich Activities, or is she just going to keep the visualizer? Because the visualizer was cute and it wasn't too long. Obviously, it was just like a couple of scenes, but I would love to see like a whole official like video type thing. We'll see. Some artists these days just kind of stick with the visualizers, and people do visualizers differently. So we'll see. But yeah, shout out to Sweetie. And also, y'all, I think another reason why I like her because she's a Cancer and I'm a Cancer as well, like in Zodiac. So that's really probably why also too. Let's see. So more from new music. So SZA released a song called Saturn. I think that one was a surprise drop. Nobody knew that SZA was going to release. And like I told y'all a couple episodes back, I was never really a huge SZA fan at first. I listened to her stuff here and there, but I told y'all I listened to SOS and I really, really like her album. So I'm kind of like, I kind of check to see what she do now, like when she releases music, just to see. And I got a chance to listen to this song, and for me, this is not a song that I personally like a lot. From SZA, and a lot of people were saying that it was like it kind of like sounds the same, but you know what? Her song, like the melody of the song, like it was a part of the song. Let me see if I can figure it, if I can find it. And promise y'all, it sounds like another song that I've heard, but I could not think of it to save my life. Like it sounds so similar to something, and I don't know if it was another SZA song or it was somebody else's song. Like just like the melody of it at one point. Um, but I cannot, like, I have no idea what I have no idea what song like I think it is. Let me see if I can find the part where she said that. I ain't gonna play it on here, obviously, but I think it's like when she, like the intrusive thoughts, they paralyze me, Nirvana's not, blah, blah, blah. Like around there type. It sounds like something similar. Um, so yeah, I've heard people just say it sounds SZA-y. I mean, of course, it's gonna sound like SZA because it's SZA, but people say it just sounds like something they heard before. So yeah, it was a good song. Um, but I don't think this is a song that I personally would replay. Like I told you, I'm just really now getting into SZA for real, for real. I really like SOS, but I don't really like this song too much. But it was cute. It was nice. It was a good song. Like it's SZA, so y'all know how that go. But comment below if you're watching the visual for this. Do you think um do you think this song is like going to do as good as like her songs off SOS? Like right now, I think Snooze is still in the top 10, y'all. Like it's been like a year plus at this point. But yeah, so what do y'all think of her new single? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Why? If you do it or not. All right, so next, we have Bryson Tiller. So y'all, if y'all don't know, like Bryson Tiller kind of was like taking over for a little bit in like 2017, maybe 2016, 2017, 2018 there. And I was in college at the time. So Bryson Tiller was like big in college. When I was in college, like everybody like loved listening to Bryson Tiller. Like my boyfriend, now husband, loves Bryson Tiller. Like at the time, like he was just like really into Bryson Tiller. Like Don't is like one of his favorite songs ever. So Bryson Tiller kind of like took a break of a sort. For a minute. I actually for a minute. He might have released stuff, but it's like people just aren't checking for him the same way as they used to. Um, I would say like he's been featured in stuff since like his, big breakthrough, but I don't really hear people talk about Bryson Tiller as much as they used to. But Bryson Tiller released a song earlier in the month, and I didn't even know he was releasing. I saw it on, I think, the Jasmine brand. It was showing the video of it, and they was like, Bryson Tiller's like new sound, and it is a Bryson Tiller new sound, but it's still Bryson Tiller. Like he more like rapping more, but rap singing. Y'all know how Bryson Tiller is. Like he rap. I consider him like a rap singer type of thing. But this one is just a bit more, it's not as like serious, I think, as his other songs. It's more like upbeat and fun. So like when let me see, when did his album come out? So like, okay, I'm completely off. It was 2015. I was still in college then too, but 2015 when his album came out. So like Bryson Tiller was really big while I was in college. So yeah, so Trap Soul came out in 2015. So yeah, like it had Exchange, Don't. Those are kind of like the two standouts on there. But I really like Bryson Tiller. But y'all know he's more R&B, But this song is kind of a little bit more. I don't know, like it's got a little, it's a bit more upbeat, and a bit more fun, a bit more free. It's not as serious as his other songs, I would think. And I would say, but I like it a lot. It's a bop. Like I like it. It's like I said, it's just fun. Like there's a place for all music in every situation. Like I'm a type of person, like I just like music that makes me feel like good, like make me feel something. So I like the song. It's like cute. Y'all need to go listen to it. It's Whatever She Wants. I really like it. I know people were talking about like the video or whatever, and like they was just like, Bryson Tiller, what are you doing? Like, this isn't you. But I like it. I really do like it. But I like Bryson Tiller, so you know. But y'all should go listen to it. It's called Whatever She Wants. And it actually released February 13th. So y'all probably would have heard it by now, but I had no idea. And I remember seeing it on Jasmine Brand. And then the other day when I was planning topics for the podcast, and I was like, I wanted to be more of a music based podcast today. And I was like, talking about all indie music that released that I personally check for or listen to. So yeah, I like that. I really like it. Whatever She Wants. I need to go watch like the video. I just seen snippets of it, but I'm gonna watch the video. But y'all, please check it out. I'm gonna try to post like the album covers of all the songs that I mentioned today, so y'all can see, so y'all can go check that out. But yeah, I'm really liking that song. I gave it a couple listens, and I like it. So did I like Rich Activities. I listen to that a lot of times. So I'm telling you, I really like these songs. So yeah, that is all for new music. I do want to add one more topic that I didn't even think about before we get into like what I really want to talk about today. So y'all, Jeezy had his Tiny Desk that released I don't know, sometime last week, I believe, or over the weekend, and I got a chance to watch some of it. But what prompted me to go even watch it, which I didn't even know he was doing a Tiny Desk, which low key, like, yeah, I think on my YouTube, or maybe I'll get like a Twitch or something, I want to like react to like Tiny Desk and just like old music videos and just stuff like that. So if y'all are interested in something like that, comment below, because I want to really get into it. I've been thinking about it for a minute. I was like, well, I really want to react to some Tiny Desk because I saw bits and pieces of the Scarface Tiny Desk, and I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Amazing. And I kind of just discovered who Scarface was a little bit, like, heard his name before. His songs have been sampled, but I believe I've heard some like his original songs, like his actual songs. So I'm familiar with who he was. But watching the clips from his Tiny Desk, like, it was amazing. And you kind of come off the backs of like the Scarface Tiny Desk, the Juvenile Tiny Desk, and just all the people that have came like before Jeezy in this past, like, I guess, year or so. People did not like Jeezy's for some reason, and I looked at about 5 minutes of it because I saw people would talk. I was watching a podcast, and they were talking about it, so I was like, okay, let me go see what they're saying. And I went to the comments of the video because I'm like, let's see if what they were talking about is like the sentiment of a lot of people. And it was. Somebody was just like, it felt like they felt like the crowd wasn't really giving, and it just wasn't right. But I looked at 5 minutes. I'm gonna go watch the rest of it. But it sounded good to me. Like, he sounded good, but people just were saying like the crowd was just not giving. Like, it just wasn't giving. But it sounded, from what I've heard, it sounded good to me. So I'm not sure. And some people's argument was like, maybe the crowd doesn't like know his songs, or maybe they're like too young and all that stuff. So I don't know. I think it's Howard University students. And if they're Howard University students currently, that means these are your 2000 and not even, I mean, they are your 2000s babies, but you're very like not close to 2010, but like your 2005, 3, 4, 5, right? Yeah, 2003, 4. Y'all know. So if you're listening and you in college, you know what year you was born. So that era, so people was like, maybe they just didn't know, whatever. So I don't know. And speaking of just generational things and just the differences between just, people's just ages and people's views on music, and people like younger people not necessarily knowing these older artists, and like just all of that, I want to get into like the big topic of today. And y'all gonna like realize that I like have a lot of thoughts all the time, and I try to like write my thoughts down so when I do videos and stuff I can like talk to y'all about it. And one of the things I was thinking about last night was, why aren't people supporting artists like they used to? So I say that because I'm a person that grew up with music my entire life. Like I always tell you, I am 26. I'm literally gonna be 27 in a couple months. So I was born in 97, and I'm technically a 90s baby, even though people are like, if you a 90s baby if you like grew up in the 90s, your childhood, and I did for like a couple years. I was there. So a bulk of my childhood really was spent in the 2000s and the 2010s. So my perspective and view on music is a lot different, and I think sometimes the misconception is that, well, it's not really a misconception. It can be true, but it's also a misconception. Did I say that right? Yeah, whatever. misconception about like younger people not like knowing music or knowing this or knowing that and knowing that and knowing that. Because me personally, I don't classify myself as Gen Z because um I don't classify myself as Gen Z because I'm literally like on the cusp of being a millennial, like by 1 year. But I personally identify more with the millennial experience than the full blown Gen Z experience because you have kids that are literally in college as we speak, okay, that are Gen Z, and they have had a whole entirely different upbringing and everything. Not upbringing, y'all know, like not personal households, but I'm talking about like how things are. Like I remember I was like there when Twitter first started. Some of these people or some of these kids, I don't even like to call them kids because they're adults, but some of these younger people, like they've had Twitter their whole existence. Like I remember when Twitter first came up on the scene. I remember when Instagram first came up on the scene. Like I was there when social media was just getting started. Like I was like MySpace time. So a lot of stuff I am technically I guess Gen Z to a certain extent, but I'm the older Gen Z and they classify us as Zillennials. So I am referred to as a Zillennial. So don't call me Gen Z. You can call me a Zillennial or a millennial. That's fine with me. So what made me think of that is because I grew up listening to music. Like my daddy is like really into music. So when I used to go with him on the weekends and stuff, like he always had the radio on. Like that's how I know a lot of like rap. I would say like backpack rap because of my dad. Like so I guess that's kind of how I have like a different perspective and advantage when it comes to music and knowing who people are. Like for example, I'll give you an example, Joe Budden, right? A lot of people don't know that Joe Budden is a rapper. A lot of the young people don't know Joe Budden is a rapper, or they call him a failed rapper. Like I know that Joe Budden's a rapper. I also know that Joe Budden was a part of Slaughterhouse, and I know that Joe Budden was a part of Slaughterhouse because of my dad. And I actually have a favorite Slaughterhouse song that I used to listen to all the time because my dad had it on his iTunes and I put it on my iPod Nano. See, that's how old I am. My iPod Nano. So let me see. What is it called? I forget every time. I just listened to it literally like the other week because I was showing it to someone. But okay, let's see. But I said to sick, like I have like a lot of knowledge when it comes to music and just how people consume and buy music because I was there before there were like streaming services. So when I used to want like a music, I would have to go to the store and buy a CD, and I had a whole CD player, like all the CDs. Like I remember I got Soldier Boy's first album. I had Bow Wow and Omarion's Face Off album. I had Chris Brown's album. I had Plaza's first album. I had what Sierra's first album, which her not her first album, but one of her albums. I think Evolution, favorite album. And um yeah, so I posed that question of like why are people not supporting their artists like they used to, because I'm used to just like artists being able to like cultivate real fan bases, and that's kind of advantage that a lot of the older artists have over the younger artists. The older artists might not, maybe some of them might not do the best when it comes to streaming and other stuff, but when it comes to like going to their concerts, they're selling out shows to this day. To this day, like Nas and Wu Tang just went on tour some months back, sometime last year. I think they did it again like a year before, and they selling out. Like people classify they are older rappers, but I'm saying like they might not do the most numbers streaming wise. Like you're not gonna see sometimes most of the time their albums like in the top Nas, but you know what I'm talking about, like in the top, like on the billboards, just people just everybody just singing and singing this. But they have a fan base that they have cultivated, and they're able to move a little bit differently throughout the industry. Because what I realized is some of these younger artists, not all, Some of them are not like properly building a fan base. And I will give you two examples. You have your people that have obviously been around longer. Obviously, it was before all the streaming eras and all this stuff. You have these people with the big fan bases, like the Barbs, the Beehive, the Swifties, and you have those caliber of artists that have been around, but like before the music industry changed, and they've been building up their fan bases. But if we want to talk about this generation and the newer people, I would say I would use Ice Spice. I would use Sweetie. I would use. I'm trying to think. Those are just the two because I was talking about them in this episode that come off my head. I think like a Summer Walker. Let me see. Let me just look behind me and see. A lot of these albums are of older people. I would say Tyler the Creator, even though he's a younger but older artist, if that makes sense. He's been around for a minute. Drake. He's another like older but younger, like my generation type of artist. And yeah, that's all that I can think of right now. But those artists, really aside from like Drake is like the biggest rapper in the world, so y'all know how that go. But what I'm saying is they're able to cultivate these fan bases to where that they can do other stuff outside of music, and people are like supporting their music. Now I know people don't like Sweetie's music sometimes, and they think she's not the best rapper, but Sweetie has a fan base. Sweetie has a brand. Sweetie has an aesthetic that makes her, I hate saying like stuff like this, makes her marketable and makes people like attract to her because of her personality. Some people it's based on looks. Not for me. It's about your personality and how you interact with your fans. Like I say, like I told y'all, I love when artists do like behind the scenes or vlog footage of them maybe making the album, going on tour, just day in the lives, because I think it helps them connect with their fans a bit more. And I was telling y'all this because I think I was using Benny the Butcher's Everybody Can't Go, that album that he just released. He did like I think it's like 3 parts. I watched all 3 parts series of like kind of the making of the album in a sense, like just some vlogs, some footage, but you were able to connect with him on a different level. Like I told y'all, Sweetie did like a Icy Life series she did it for like a while. This is when Sweetie was really like in her era, like a couple years ago when she was with Quavo and everything. So she like, even though people don't like her as a rapper per se, and people critique her music, which I mean, if you're an artist, your music gonna get critiqued whether you like it or not. So that's just a part of it. But Sweetie has been able to do more things outside of music, and I 100% guarantee you it's because of the personality and the brand that she's built. And a lot of people don't realize how important a brand is. A lot of artists don't. And it can hurt them in the end. And I think that because people think they have these high streaming numbers and these high, just all these things, that they don't need to really cultivate a true fan base. And I feel like in the beginning, that when you at Beyonce's level, you don't have to interact with your fans as much as you used to, but you can, because you have people like Beyonce that don't really interact too much with her fans. Like you don't see Beyonce on Instagram and stuff like that a lot, or just her doing stuff like that. She'll release some documentary footage, and the Renaissance film that just came out, stuff like that, to connect with her audience, but she doesn't do that on a daily basis. But if you go back when Beyonce was coming up, like they was working, they was building themselves up, they was building their brands. And then you have people like Nicki Minaj. She's built like her own lane, did her own thing, but she still interacts with her fans a lot. And I think that's a part of artistry that is missing from a lot of these newer artists, and it's really hard for me to personally connect sometimes, because I come from an era where my favorite artists, I could see them all the time. Like the reason why I personally wanted to get into like this music commentating space, and the reason why I went to school for journalism in the first place is because I loved 106 and Park. 106 and Park was my favorite show, and 106 and Park was on basically my whole entire life up until I was like in high school. I think they went off in 2014 or 2013. So I was in high school then. So 106 and Park is like a big inspiration for me, and the reason why I want to do what I like am doing or trying to do, y'all. My story is long of how I'm getting to where I want to go, and just life things that has happened and kind of me just stepping back from it. But initially, that is the reason why I went to college, because I was like, I want to be on 106 Park. I want to be a host of 106 Park, y'all. Like, that's what I wanted. So I look at things, platforms like 106 Park, and where, every day, like clockwork, y'all. You got your top 10 videos of the day, yada yada yada. Your favorite artists are coming on there. Like, I just was watching a compilation today of Nas and all the times that he was on the 106 Park, and just that connection that you had with artists. It just made you appreciate and like that artist more, and it made you, I feel like it helps build the brand of who that artist is. And alongside me being like a big journalism person, uh I am currently, y'all, I'm getting my master's in digital marketing as well. So I'm a big marketing person too, and I know like the aspects that it takes to build a brand, and how important building a brand is, and how important it is to your overall like career, or your overall like brand, like building that up. And it's important, and I think that these artists now, some of them, not all, are like having a hard time doing that, and it's starting to hurt them, I think. Because what happens is, some of these artists, like, I'll give y'all for example of the Meg and Nicki situation. So with the Meg and Nicki situation, y'all know Meg ended up going number one with his, and a lot of people say that it was because Nicki kind of fed into it, and y'all know what happened, yada yada yada, and she went number one, right? And then people's other argument is like, well, if she went number one because the fans love her, and yada yada. Woo. So since she went number one a couple weeks ago, she's been falling down the billboards since then. And songs do that all the time, y'all. That's not something that's just new, and just, but that's an example that I would like to use, and an example that people have been pointing out when it comes to people really truly not supporting artists anymore, or supporting people's brands anymore. And I just think that people support people when it's beneficial. So like, a lot of people supported Meg in that situation because they don't like Nicki. So of course you're gonna get to number one. You got everybody in their fan bases coming, liking, doing your song up, and then it was a diss song, so everybody was a diss song, so everybody is tuning into the situation. But you weren't able to sustain that because your fan base is not as big as maybe you thought, or the fan base is not as big as the fans thought it was. But that comes from, just, I feel like, um all aspects of just building a brand and building a fan base. And I feel like, one thing though I will say, a lot of the new artists, they um they get a lot of brand deals. So they're building their portfolios up, and on that front, and that's a good thing. Meg has like a deal with Planet Fitness, and Ice Spice has like a Starry deal. She had a Dunkin' deal. Sweetie had a McDonald's deal. Lotto had like a Halls deal. Cardi has a Nyx, I think. Yeah, Nyx deal. Like, a lot of these artists have like a lot of these deals, which I think are great, and they do help. But I feel like it's important. And let me just get more like specific when I say building a brand, because that also is a part of building your brand. But when I say like building your brand, more so building your brand and and reaching out to your fans in your perspective area. So whether that's music, acting, and I'm not even gonna say acting because sometimes certain genres of just everything it's not the same. So actors are a little bit different in that sense. They kind of garner their fans just from like their work when their work alone, and some of it is because of their personality, the interviews and stuff that they do. But when it comes to music, and if you're like an active musician and you're releasing music like on a consistent basis, and you're supposed to be this big artist, like I promise y'all, some of your favorite big artists like cannot sell out arenas, and you have some artists that are considered maybe underground or lesser known that can sell out it might not be the biggest arena in the world, but they can sell out all their shows in their venues. Like that's a underrated thing that people don't realize, and I just feel like it's so many reasons for that. Like I'm telling you, like, I come from an era, like I'm telling y'all, like I don't know. I think I told y'all this a couple episodes ago. I had a whole DVD of Chris Brown, and it was Chris Brown. I forgot what it was called, and I wish I still had it. But it was him, and he was like on his tour, and it was just a compilation. It was like a blog basically, but like a long vlog, a compilation video of like all the things. And we had places like 106 in Park where you would see your favorite artists, and they would come perform. They had like artist guest hosts. Obviously your video, like that's why I really miss 106 in Park, and 106 in Park meant so much for the culture and did so much for hip-hop and just our genre in general because of its impact, and just it was there. And you don't really have any shows like that anymore. Now you kind of have more like the podcast bringing light to stuff and streamers and stuff like that, but you don't really have a show like 106 in Park. I wish they would bring it back, but I don't even know how it would look in this day and age, to be honest with you. I really don't. But I just think that part is missing, and it's unfortunate, and it's like some artists have it and some artists don't. That's why I think that even though you might say these people's music is not good or mid or whatever, some of the people that you consider mid and that are not that good, or however you critique them, they can do more and sell out more than some of your faves just from their fan bases alone. We see how powerful now fan bases can be a very, very powerful tool for artists, a very, very great asset, and also can be like detrimental to a certain extent if you let it, because y'all know how stan culture is. So that's just a whole nother thing. But it's just the way the industry has gone and is going, and some artists just don't. Some artists generally, I feel like, are doing stuff just for a check. And I'm a person that I can tell genuine artists from somebody that I feel like just doing stuff just to do stuff, like making that connection with your fans, just garnering that true support from your fans is unmatched. Like we talked about Chris Brown in last week's episode. We talked about how he gets a lot of heat from just kind of the industry to a certain extent and just different entities. But if you go to Chris Brown shows, Chris Brown sells out his shows. Like Chris Brown is able to do these arenas and do these things because he has a strong fan base of people that have been rocking with him since he was like since he was a kid. Like he was when his first album came out, he was like 15, 16. Since then. So you have that, and it takes time to get to that point of those type caliber people. But even if we kind of just going by like different artists, look at Tyler the Creator and the movement he's been able to create around himself, and how he started and how he came in with what is it, Lord Squad, and all of that stuff that he's done and stuff that he's built up. Like Tyler the Creator doesn't have problems selling out shows. It's Tyler the Creator, y'all. Like he has that fan base. Who else did I say that was on here? Summer Walker is another one that has that fan base. And I think that artists, you can make that connection with your fan base and building your fan base in different ways, and it doesn't look the same for everybody. And everybody's personalities is different, but people are drawn to different qualities when it comes to artists. And and people, but I just feel like it's a lack of that, and you don't see true artistry from a lot of artists these days, which is unfortunate because I'm like a person. Listen, I want to see the vlogs. I want to see something behind the scenes. I want to see something like it ain't gotta be. You don't gotta tell us business. We don't need to know all your business and stuff. It's a way for you to genuinely build and connect with your fans and still remain private, but do it. And I feel like just artists are just not doing that work no more. Like it's just kind of jump from point A to point B and then gone. But some of the artists that you might not know of maybe right now, or that you might not um that might have just not came out yet, that they might be a smaller artist than some of your faves, but they're able to sell out their shows. They're able to really sell their merch. Like really sell their stuff because they have true people that genuinely connect and love them. Like I said, every artist, it doesn't look the same for every artist because every artist is different. How they connect with their fans is different. How they cultivate their fan bases is very different and can look very different and just is very different in general. But I feel like that's an underrated thing that people are just skipping over and just kind of going. Like you could be going and hustling and moving, but you have to reach back down to your people, because I'm gonna tell you this. Some people, you might get the numbers right now, maybe. But what happens when you're not getting those numbers? Because some people, I'm gonna tell you this, some people listen to artists just because they're popular right now, and they're popping right now. But what happens after some years, or in some people's cases, months, when they're not as popping anymore? That their music isn't hitting, I guess, the general public at its height anymore, and your songs aren't really making it on Billboard anymore, and you're not getting those streaming numbers that you used to. What happens then? You can't go on tour if you ain't got no fan base. Like, it's people that have been in the industry for 20 years, 15 years, 10 plus years that are able to still tour to this day, even with all the newer artists out. Some of these artists ain't even released music in 10, 15 years, and they can still go and tour, go and sell out their venues because of the fan base that they cultivated and the connection that they made with their fans. And that's a problem for me. I told y'all the way that I grew up, I have so much appreciation and love for the artists that I grew up with. Like, I was there when Nicki Minaj and your Drakes and your Kendricks and your J. Cole's, like those, that group right there, I was there when they first was starting out. Like, that's why that is why they are who they are now, because of the things that they did then. They are all solidified. They all have cultivated their own fan bases and built their own brands to the point where if they don't drop anything else, they're good. They're set because they have that fan base. Now, if you just out here just getting those instant hits, and that's fine, that's exciting because you're gonna do that. But if you're not really cultivating and trying to build your fan base, what is gonna happen when you not the hot thing on the block anymore? When you're 5+ years in and you might not be getting the same. People go through so much stuff in the industry, and as an artist, like there's a lot of changes that goes on. Like, you you know you might switch management, you might switch labels, you might have just things in the industry that go on that changes you as an artist. And while you maybe on your hiatuses or just taking breaks or doing whatever, like, you don't have no genuine friends to really run like your stuff. Like, I come from the era of people having like fan mail and like fan clubs and stuff like that. Like, it was like a Chris Brown fan club, y'all. It was like a Chris Brown fan club thing, and like I just remember stuff like this. So it's like, for me, being, I guess, one of the older ones, of like the generation, the Gen Z, like, it's just unfortunate, and I think that's a big part of the reason why music and hip hop isn't doing what it needs to do right now. A lot of people are releasing. I will say, a lot of people are releasing stuff that's just not good and just releasing stuff. I will say that. And music is always gonna be subjective too. So like you might not think it's good, but I might, and vice versa. So it's just so much to it, and just the way the industry is changing. But I think it's starting to kind of catch up to them, and the type of artists that they push, and the type of artists that they sign, because y'all will literally be surprised. Some of the people that are not on your radars right now, or maybe some of the people that you just don't know, or you might know them, but they're not like the biggest artists to you. They are the ones that have the best and loyal fan bases. They're the ones that's able to still. I'll give y'all a good example. Rich Homie Quan. Y'all know Rich Homie Quan had his time, like his peak, y'all. When it was him and Young Thug, like it was just an amazing time. Like he was really doing it, and things kind of happened in his life and just situations, and he kind of stepped back from music a bit. But I seen an interview with him. He was like, for the last 14 years, he's been able to eat and freaking take care of his family and stuff just from his music that he done, and then he's able to go on tour still. People are going, they're paying to see Rich Homie Quan because they love Rich Homie Quan because of his fan base that he cultivated when he was popping and when he was hot. That's why, and a lot of artists just missing this, and it's unfortunate. And I hope it turns around and it changes. Like I said, it's not every new artist that come in, because a lot of these new artists, some of them, they're good on that front. They're great on that front. Like I would use Summer Walker for an example. She has an amazing fan base. Amazing. Then say what you want about Summer, y'all. Some people got commentary on Summer, but Summer, she does shows and stuff. Her shows sell for sure, for sure. Look at Sexy Red, y'all. That's a great example of how she's able to cult. I don't. It's like some people. One thing is some people just got it. Whether you think their music is trash or not, or whether you think it's good or not, some people just have it. And sometimes people connect with people's personalities more than anything. Like people love Sexy Red because of how fun she is. She's authentic. That's another thing that comes with building a fan. Authenticity. Be authentic. So she's able to garner that support and that love. And Sexy Red ain't the most. She not on here on Billboard top 10. Like she's been on Billboard a couple times, of course, but I'm saying like if you're trying to compare her to a different artist that might be doing more streaming numbers and more, but they might not have the same fan base like Sexy Red is, because Sexy Red sold out her shows, selling her shows, went on a whole tour by herself. She bring other artists on because of the fan base that she's cultivated, and a lot of it is personality, how you connect with your fans, how you interact with your fans. Like people love seeing people be themselves, especially in this day and age where everybody's kind of like the same, act the same, sound the same, just is the same. So I just think that that's Six Bears a great. So I'm so happy I thought about it. Of look what she's been able to do in the past year and a half. Like it is amazing, and people just love Sexy Red. Like she's building her following, she's building her fan base. So like I just think that's missing for a lot of artists, and I wish artists would get that and understand that, because when you're not the hottest thing anymore, when you decide to take breaks or you decide to do whatever and things change, that fan base is always going to be with you. But if you don't have one because you're not cultivating one or trying or nothing, that's you're not going. No, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So that was kind of like my commentary, on like how I felt about that. I just thought about that question, and I just really wanted to like talk about it. Like I said, y'all, I come from an era where my favorite artist to this day, like I love Kendrick Lamar to this day. Kendrick Lamar's fan base, these people don't even have to announce when they are releasing. And yes, y'all gonna say like, well, yeah, they're big artists. Yeah, they're big artists, but they have loyal fan bases. These, I know. To me, I'm like, yo, like Nicki and Drake and Kendrick and J. Cole, they're still so young. They are young, but they've been out for like 10 plus years. Really, 14, 15 years. Like they're considered older artists to the younger kids and the younger generation. So for them to be able to, people like to talk about more artists, but them older artists are selling out their arenas, selling out their venues, selling out their shows. Can you do that? Can you? Can you? I don't know. What y'all think? What y'all think? And also another thing that is kind of shaking up the table. Y'all remember I told y'all that Universal Music Group they pulled their music off of TikTok. Today I seen somewhere where Warner is pulling their songs off TikTok or wanting to pull their songs off TikTok too. So we gonna see how that goes. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. And oh y'all, I found the song that I like by Slaughterhouse. It's called Hammer Dance. I like that song. It's a really good song. So yeah, that's all I have. I would love to hear y'all's takes on this topic. So if you are a visual listener slash watcher, comment below. Let me know what y'all think about that. If you are on Spotify, you can respond to like the question of the podcast and give me your thoughts on that. And that's all I got, y'all. Be sure to tune in to Denny Price TV for the visual of this episode and any other content that I have on there. I'm trying to build that channel up now. It might be getting a name change too. So I'll keep y'all updated. I'll let y'all know. But that's all I got, y'all. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. And I will see y'all and y'all will hear from me next week.